And then a third problem that is perhaps more common than we are aware of is iron overload. And patients with leukemia get an awful lot of transfusions during their treatment, and every transfusion comes with iron, and the body has no spontaneous way of getting rid of iron, so all that iron gets accumulated, and mainly in the liver, and can cause liver inflammation. So we have to be aware of that. If patients have liver problems, we have to check for iron overload, because there's also medication for that to deal with that. And lastly, I think this is the last slide. This is mostly quit smoking. I don't know. I have to keep saying that to my patients, and I cannot believe how people can go through all that they have to go through and then keep smoking. Not trying to be preacher here, but it's sad, because the risk for other cancers is increased after transplant. There's no way around it. The whole fact that we've upset the immune system makes us more sensitive to other cancers. So nobody should smoke, but somebody who had a transplant should absolutely not smoke. It's asking for more infections. It's also asking for more risk for cancer. Screening, all screening that other people have to go to. I forgot here colon cancer screening, but most importantly, mammograms probably should be earlier. Cervical cancer screening. Cervical cancer, as some of you may be aware, is caused by a virus and is transmitted originally through sexual contact. And so it's women who have been infected, sometimes at a very early age, with this virus, who get cervical cancer. But that can then flare up after patients get graft versus host disease, and we've lost people from very severe cervical cancer that could have been avoided with screening. And there's now debate, there's now a vaccine, and I don't know whether that's here in New Zealand, but it's now recommended that every young woman and perhaps every young boy gets vaccinated against this HPV, human papillomavirus, that's really the culprit of cervical cancer. And there's a debate, and that's a bit controversial. In truth, to me, it's not controversial. Everybody should get it, because it's a huge problem, a worldwide health problem that will be eliminated. And but there's now some people saying that we should vaccinate all our transplant patients, before they get the transplant against this HPV. That's, no data there yet, but it's something that makes some sense, because when it flares up, it can be bad. Skin cancer in a sunny country like this, have to be very careful about. Particularly patients with chronic graft versus host disease are at major risk for secondary skin cancers, squamous cell cancer of the skin or basal cell carcinoma of the skin. And those are types of skin cancers that do not spread, but they can cause major damage to the skin and to the body locally. And we recommend that our patients, those with graft versus host disease, go for every 6 months to see a dermatologist to find skin cancers quite early. And then I don't know how you can do that here. It's winter here right now, and I'm surprised how warm it is. But this is important. Just to avoid this, people need to wear hats. People need to wear long sleeves. People need to use sunscreens after transplant. While we're talking about second cancers, the one risk with autologous transplant is that as we give these cells back, as all these cells have been exposed, these are the patient's own cells. Patients undergoing autologous transplant have a somewhat increased risk for leukemia down the line, usually within the next 10 years. It's not huge, but it's there. So there's no way of preventing that if it happens. It's anywhere between 5 and 10%. What we tell patients is, don't get lost to follow up. Come see us once a year, even see somebody once a year, just to have a blood count checked. So these are, kind of put these slides together with the idea of what do my patients ask me and what do my patients deal with. So I hope I kind of addressed some of the issues that you may have.